Hello students, welcome to UC first year biology class. In the previous class we have discussed up to the phylum Ascomnthis. In today's class we are going to discuss the another phylum Annelida. So phylum Annelida has got its name because of the presence of annulus on their body surface. Annulus, which are commonly called the ring-like structures. If you see the earthworm, or in this diagram also, you see some ring-like structure on their body surface. These ring-like structures are called the annulus. They are very familiar on the earthworm. These are the ring-like structures present on the body surface of these organisms. These ring-like structures are called the annulus, or ring-like structures, or they may also call the metameres. And because of these structures, they have got the name Annelida. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವುಗಳ ದೇಹದ ಮೇಲ್ಪದರದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಗುರಾಕಾರದ ರಚನೆಗಳಿವೆ. ಈ ಉಂಗುರಾಕಾರದ ರಚನೆಗಳಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವುಗಳಿಗೆ ಅನೆಲಿಡಾ ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಹೆಸರು ಬಂತು. Okay. Now, where they are usually seen? Their habitats. We'll discuss about the habitats. We will talk about the habitats. Means the place where they usually survive or present. These organisms are aquatic, terrestrial, they may be free living or parasitic. They are aquatic organisms, terrestrial, or they may be free living or parasite. So these are the different types of habitats where they usually seen. In aquatic also there are two forms. One is marine form and the one is freshwater form. Freshwater forms. Marine means, as we know, sea water or salt water. Freshwater means, so the lake water, river water, pond, well. So these all are considered as a freshwater. So Annelida phylum has classified into three classes. The classes are, one is Polychaeta, Oligochaeta, and another one is Hirudinea. So why I am discussing or mentioning these classes? Because in your NCERT book, they have mentioned three organisms. And these three organisms are belonging to each of these class. Let us see the classes of Annelida. Annelida has divided into three classes. The first class is Polychaeta, Oligochaeta, and Hirudinea. So these are the three classes which are come under the phylum Annelida. Annelida ಅನ್ನುವಂತ phylum ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂರು ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿದೆ. Polychaeta, it has got its name because of its locomotor structure, which has many setae. Many locomotor structures are there. Oligo means which has very few setae. Hirudinea has got its name because of the substance Hirudinea present in the saliva of these organisms. What are those organisms? We will discuss that also. So for the class of Polychaeta, we will give example Nereis. It's an example for the Polychaeta. For Oligochaeta, we will give the example earthworm, which is also called the Peritema. And for Hirudinea, we will give the example cattle leech or leech. So Indian cattle leech also we call it for this leech. So these are the three examples which are given for the phylum Annelida in our book. Here I want to mention one thing. Nereis is a marine water form. Earthworm is terrestrial. and whereas leech is a freshwater form. It's a freshwater form. Means from all the three types of habitats, they have given one example. So here I want to mention something related with this Hirudinea. Hirudinea is a chemical substance present in the saliva of these organisms. Because the leech is an ectoparasite. It's an ectoparasite. Leech is an ectoparasite. So already in the previous class we have discussed what are endoparasites and what are ectoparasites. Parasite means those which gets their food from the another living organisms. Where we again divide the parasites into two groups, endoparasites, ectoparasites. ಎಂಡೋಪ್ಯಾರಾಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಜೀವಿಯ ದೇಹದ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆಹಾರ ತಗೋತಿದ್ರೆ ಎಂಡೋಪ್ಯಾರಾಸೈಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನಾವು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗಳನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದೀವಿ. ಜಂತುಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಲಿವರ್ ಫ್ಲೂಕ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಟೇಪೋಮ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಎಂಡೋಪ್ಯಾರಾಸೈಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗಳು. ಎಕ್ಟೋಪ್ಯಾರಾಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಲೀಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿನ್ ಎಕ್ಟೋಪ್ಯಾರಾಸೈಟ್. ಎಕ್ಟೋಪ್ಯಾರಾಸೈಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜೀವಿಯ ದೇಹದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಜೀವಿಯ ದೇಹದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಇದ್ಕೊಂಡು ತಮ್ಮ ಆಹಾರನ ಪಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಂತವುಗಳಿಗೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಎಕ್ಟೋಪ್ಯಾರಾಸೈಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಲೀಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಟೋಪ್ಯಾರಾಸೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಟು ಲೀಡ್ ದ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಸೈಟಿಕ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಅದು ಕಚ್ಚುವಾಗ ಕಚ್ಚಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಂತ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ಯಾಟಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗದೇ ಇರುವಂತೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಕಾರಣ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಸಲೈವದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹಿಡಿನಿಯ ಅನ್ನೋ ವಸ್ತು ಇದೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಸಿಕ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಕಚ್ಚಬೇಕಾದಂತಹ ಸ್ಥಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನಸ್ಥೆಟಿಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಆ ಸ್ಥಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆನ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಉಪಯೋಗ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು, ಸೊ ಅನ್ಕ್ಲಾಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್, ಅದು ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹೀರ್ಕೋತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ದೇಹದ ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಬರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಲಾಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಟ್ ಆಗದೆ ಇರುವಂತೆ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳುತ್ತೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಅದು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಇವೆರಡು ಉಪಯೋಗಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದರಿಂದ ಹಿರ್ಡಿನಿಯಾ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸಲೈವ ಆಫ್ these organisms, ectoparasites. So it sucks directly blood from the host, hence these are also called the sanguivorous. So leech is called the sanguivorous. Sanguivorous means those organisms which suck the blood directly from their host organism body, and they are called the sanguivorous. So one thing we are very clearly understood here. So Annelida has classified into three classes: Polychaeta, Oligochaeta, Hirudinea, and these names are given to these classes because of their locomotor structure and also the special substance present in their saliva. Polychaeta means, chaeta means setae. What are setae? Where they are present? We'll discuss that also while discussing the locomotor structure. Poly means many, chaeta means the setae. Many setae are there and they are useful for their locomotion. And it's a marine water forms. And oligochaeta means, oligo means very few setae, and these are the locomotor structure for the earthworm, and these are terrestrial forms, and it is a freshwater form, but it is ectoparasite and it is sanguivorous. Its host are human being or cattle. So these are the host for this ectoparasite, the leech. So let us move to the next carrot. First, we will discuss some of the basic characters of this group. So, these are bilateral symmetrical organisms, triploblastic, and they have organ system level of body organization, which are already we have discussed many times. So, some of the basic characters of this group are, they are also bilateral symmetrical organisms, bilateral symmetrical. They have triploblastic body layer. They are also triploblastic animals. They have organ system level of body organization. Organ system level of body organization means many systems are developed in this group. There is digestive system, circulatory system, excretory system. So many organs have gathered or associated and formed a particular organ system. Means The body has many organ systems. Hence, they are called the organ system level of body organized animals. So, another important character which we see in this group is they are coelomates. These are coelomates, or we may call they are eucoelomates. This is a new character which we see in this group. So already we have discussed three types of coeloms. One is acoelom, pseudocoelom, and here we are discussing about the eucoelom. So what is eucoelom? Coelom means cavity. Whether it is false cavity or true cavity, it is going to be decided by the help of presence and absence of cavity and presence of mesoderm layer. So here we are going to draw the cross section of this organism body. So the outermost layer, which is the body wall, which is made by ectoderm. It's made by ectoderm. And inside there is a tubular structure. This is called the alimentary canal tube structure, which is made by endoderm. It's made by endoderm. And this is the cavity. Between the body wall and alimentary canal, there is a cavity. And this cavity is called the true cavity because it has lined with the mesoderm layer. Both the wall layer have lined with the mesoderm layer, which is called the coelomic epithelium. And this cavity has filled with the fluid. That fluid is called the coelomic fluid. And this fluid is also called the body fluid, and that is going to help the organism at the time of locomotion, because these organisms not having the hard skeleton. The hard skeleton is not here. So for their movement, this body fluid is going to help them. ಈ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ದ್ರವ ಇದೆ, ಆ ದ್ರವಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಸಿಲೋಮಿಕ್ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇವುಗಳ ಚಲನವಲನಕ್ಕೆ ಇವುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಸಿಲೋಮಿಕ್ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ. And this is called the true coelom, ನಿಜವಾದ coelom. First time we see the true coelom or eucoelom in this group. So keep it in mind. Annelids are the first organism which have the true coelom or eucoelom. Next character, the very important character of this group is these are metamerous organisms. They have metamerous segmentation or metameric organisms. There is organism express metamerism, which is also called the true segmentation. True segmentation. So these organisms express the metamerism. So this is very important or distinct character we see in the phylum Annelida. Then what is metamerism? Already we have mentioned here metameres. Metameres means single, this segment is called the metamere. Then to which process we should call the metamerism? The organism body which is segmented. So here many parts we see in these organisms. So here these are called the segments. And these segmentation should be on both external surface as well as internal surface. For example, here I am going to draw the diagram of earthworm. So this is the diagram of earthworm. Here we see the segmentation. And these are external segmentation. Even inside this body also we see the segmentation. So inside the body also we see the segmentation. So one part is separated from another part with a septa or segmentation. Like this. So inside the body of the organisms also there are partitions or septa are there which separates the one segment from the other segment. Not only the segmentation is outside, even inside also there is segmentation. Such a segmentation is called the metameric segmentation. or this phenomenon is called the metamerism, which we see in the phylum Annelida group first time. And this type of segmentation we also call it true segmentation. Now why we should call the true segmentation? The true segmentation is the one we should observe in embryonic stage also. The segmentation should start from embryonic stage only. If the segmentation is there in the embryonic stage also, such segmentation is called the true segmentation. We see the true segmentation in three groups of organisms. One group is Annelida, another one is Arthropoda, and in Chordates. So these three groups of organisms show the true segmentation. Means segmentation starts from their embryonic stage only, and such segmentation is called the true segmentation. And this is very distinct or very important character of this group, because as we studied in the last classes 3 to 4 phylum, where in each phylum we have seen the one unique character which is very important to identify that group. For example, conocytes and pinacocytes in Porifera, Nidoblast in Coelenterata, bioluminescence and comb plates in the Ctenophora, Aschelminthes have the pseudocoelomate. So each group or phylum has the one or other peculiar characters which are very specific, and they are present in only in that phylum only. And such characters are there in every phylum. Here we see the metamerism is a very important character we see in this group, that is Annelida. So we also discuss here the structure or the body wall. Structure of body wall. The body wall structure of these organisms. The body wall of these organisms is made by three layers. Outer layer is made by cuticle. There are three layers in their body wall. Outer layer is called the cuticle. Middle one is made by simple epidermis. It's made by simple epidermis. And innermost one is made by muscular. It is muscular. But in this group, we see two types of muscles. One is longitudinal muscles, and we also see the circular muscles. So in the last group, we have seen only the longitudinal muscles. There are 4 longitudinal muscles which are running throughout the length of the organism body. Ali Aschelminthes nalli ನಾವು longitudinal muscles ಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಲಾಂಗಿಟ್ಯೂಡಿನಲ್ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳದಾವ ಮತ್ತು ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳದಾವ. ಸೊ ಈ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ಯಾವ ಆರ್ಗಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಮೇಲೆ? ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಲಾಂಗಿಟ್ಯೂಡಿನಲ್ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ರನ್ ಥ್ರೂಔಟ್ ದ ಲೆಂತ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ಗಾನಿಸಮ್ ಬಾಡಿ. The longitudinal muscles. Here and there we see some circular muscles. Longitudinal muscles are inner side and circular muscles are on outer side. Just like the wrapper binded with a tape, or any gift pack is binded with the tape. So ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು ಕಟ್ಟಿಗೆಯನ್ನ ದಾರದಿಂದ ಕಟ್ಟಿದಾಗ ಹೆಂಗಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಕಂಡು ಬರುವಂತ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್. In human body also we see the longitudinal and circular muscles, but their arrangement is different. Circular muscles are inside, longitudinal muscles are outside in human being. But in case of earthworm, it is the opposite direction. So longitudinal muscles are inside, circular muscles are outside. So 2 types of muscles we see first time in this group. So one is longitudinal muscles, and which are wrapped by the circular muscles. And these muscles help for the locomotor structure to move. So locomotor structure move by the contraction and relaxation of these muscles. Now we'll talk about the locomotory structure, which is very important structure. So the next character of this group is locomotory structure or locomotion. Locomotion means movement, the organism movement. ಚಲಿಸುವಂತ ಶಕ್ತಿ. ಆರ್ಗಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಥಳದಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ಥಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಚಲಿಸುವ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಅಂಗ ಬೇಕೇ ಬೇಕು. So here in this group we see the 3 types of locomotory structure. The one is parapodium, another one is setae, and next one is sucker. So these are the 3 types of locomotory structure we see. So parapodias are the extension of or the outgrowth of body wall. These are the appendages which are the extended portion of body wall. For example, here we see these parapodia. So this is the body wall. These are the segments. So the body walls extend outside in this manner. This extended portion or these structures are called the parapodia. These are called the parapodia. And these parapodia are useful only for swimming in the water. They are helpful for the swimming purpose. So we see the parapodia in the organism Nereis. We see the parapodia in the organism Nereis. So Nereis have the locomotor structure, parapodia. These are the extended portion of their body wall. Setae are S-shaped chitinous bristle-like structure or small hair-like structure. So here also we see the setae. So here the S-shaped structures are there. So these are the S-shaped structures which are made by chitinous material. So these setae may present in both Nereis as well as earthworm. In earthworm also we see the setae, and these are chitinous, and they are going to be useful for the walking. They are not useful for the swimming. They are going to be useful for the walking or on the land. When they are moving on the land, in that situation these setae are going to be useful for the organisms. So ಚಲಿಸುವಾಗ ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಚಲಿಸುವಾಗ ಈ ಸೀಟೆಗಳು ಉಪಯೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾವ. ಇವು ಎಸ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಗಳದಾವ ಮತ್ತು ಇವು ಎದರಿಂದ ಮಾಡಲ್ಪಟ್ಟವ ಕೈಟಿನಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳಿಂದ ಮಾಡಲ್ಪಟ್ಟವ. And they are present both in Nereis as well as earthworm. So next one is sucker. So suckers are present only in leech because these parapodia and setae are completely absent in the leech. Here I have drawn a diagram of leech. We not see so parapodia and setae in leech. Leech has two types of sucker. One is anterior sucker, another one is posterior sucker. Anterior sucker and posterior suckers are useful for this organism both for the locomotion as well as to suck the blood. So this organism is moving by the help of suckers. This is the body and there are two types of suckers. It's going to be useful to use the suckers like this. It is going to be useful like this. So suckers are used to fix on the body of organisms. So these are the three types of locomotory structures we see in the group Annelida. Next we will discuss about digestion and other physiological activities of these organisms. Let us start with the digestion or digestive system. So digestion in these organisms is extracellular digestion, because for digestion there is a specific or highly developed, when compared to the other phylum, there is a highly developed digestive system is there. And this type of digestive system we call as tube within tube. Tube within tube means the alimentary canal has two ends. One end is with the mouth and another end has the anus. Anterior end has the mouth, posterior end has the anus. So when the alimentary canal has two openings, mouth and anus, such alimentary canal is called the complete alimentary canal, or we may also call the complete digestive system, or it may also called as tube within tube. So this is a highly developed or evolved digestive system when compared to the another lower phylum. So next, about the respiration. So respiration in case of Annelida is by help of two organs or two types. So one is very important, one is cutaneous type, and the one is by with the help of gills. Cutaneous means the respiration takes place through the body surface, moist skin. the moist skin of this organism is going to help for the exchange of gases, and such type is called the cutaneous. And some aquatic forms have the gills, and these gills are going to help for the exchange of gases. So body layer or body surface, and that type is called the cutaneous, and also gills are going to be helpful for the respiration. So next, circulation. In this group, first time we have seen the developed circulatory system, because in previous phyla we have not seen the circulatory system or organs. Here we see the first time the circulatory system, and that too this is the closed type. Here in this group we see the closed type of circulatory system, means the blood circulation takes place within the arteries, veins or capillaries. Within the blood vessel the blood circulation takes place, and such circulatory system is called the closed type of circulatory system. Next, we talk about the excretion. So excretion means the unwanted nitrogenous waste is removed out of the body, and that is called the excretion. And this waste material has removed out of the body with the help of excretory structures, and these excretory structures are called the nephridia. So here in this group we may see the three types of nephridia. While discussing the anatomical structure of earthworm, we will come across those three types of nephridia. They are septal nephridia, integumentary nephridia and pharyngeal nephridia. And these nephridia are useful for the osmoregulation as well as for the excretion purpose. And nervous system is slightly developed when compared to the previous phyla, which has double ganglion which are laterally connected with the lateral nerves, which is connected and with a double nerve cord. And such type of nervous system is there in this group. And last very important character of this group is about reproduction. How these organisms are reproducing. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸಂತಾನೋತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಇವುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತದೆ. Reproduction. Reproduction in this group is sexual type only. They have only sexual type of reproduction. But here some important character we can see in this group. That is, some of the organisms of this group are unisexual and some are bisexual. So some may be unisexual and some are bisexual. Unisexual means the organism which have only one sex organ. Either they may be male or female. And that we also call the dioecious. That condition is also called the dioecious or homoprodacts. But bisexual means monoecious, or we may also call the hermaprodacts. Means these organisms have both male and female sex organ in the same body. A single organism may have the male organ also, male sex organ also, female sex organ also. Both these male and female sex organs present in the same individual or same organism body. Such organisms are called the bisexual organisms, monoecious organisms or hermaphrodite. Example for these two group. So Nereis is the example for the unisexual, whereas earthworm and leech are examples for the bisexual or hermaphrodites. So Nereis is unisexual, means a male Nereis and female Nereis are different. Male Nereis produce the male gametes like sperms, and female Nereis produce the female gametes like egg. And then sexual fertilization takes place external. The fusion of gamete takes place in the environment, means fertilization is external in case of Nereis. Whereas in case of earthworm and leech, fertilization is internal. Fertilization is internal. But one thing we have to remember here, that is, even though these are hermaphrodite, but the same organisms gametes are not fusing. Means fertilization not takes place between the gametes of same organism. Means one earthworm's sperm are going to meet with the egg of another earthworm. Means there is cross fertilization. Cross fertilization is there. So for the cross fertilization, the one condition is there, that is called the protrandrous. Means in earthworm or leech, male gametes are getting mature earlier and compared to the female gamete. Hence, the male gametes of same individual is not going to fertilize the female gamete of that individual only. So these male gametes are always fertilize the egg of another organism. Hence, it is called the cross fertilization. Here, these are unisexual. Naturally, there is no other way. Cross fertilization is compulsory. And next is development. In case of Nereis, the development is indirect. Development is indirect because there is a larval stage. The larva is called trophophore. But in case of earthworms and leech, development is direct. Development is direct because there is no larval stage in their developmental period. So this is a very important character of direct and indirect, because larval stage is there, larval stage is not there. So we may see the different character of the same groups of organism. Some may be unisexual, some may be bisexual. Fertilization is external, fertilization is internal. Development is indirect, but development is the direct. These are quite opposite characters found in the same organisms of same phylum. So all these organisms are belonging to the same phylum. But when regarding the reproduction, we may find diverse the features in their organism's body. So this is about the reproduction. So now we will going to finish the topic, because we have discussed all the general characters of this organism. So already we have mentioned the examples: Nereis, earthworm and the leech. So here I am going to finish this topic. In the next class we will discuss another file. Thank you.